Hey there, friends and enemies, JoPa here again, and recently there's been a ton of talk in the Destiny 2 community about the low number of pre-orders of the Final Shape expansion, especially when you consider that a lot of people online have also talked about canceling their pre-orders because of the layoffs at Bungie, as well as the delay to the Final Shape, which would allow them to still retain their emblems and pre-order weapon, which is how this information has been gathered. However, I do find the original source to be not trustworthy of this information. DestinyBulletin is the account that first posted about the pre-orders of the Final Shape being 25% of the number of pre-orders of Lightfall. But DestinyBulletin has a history of incorrect and misleading information. They are an account that I personally do not like whatsoever. I think they clickbait a lot, and they also are known to farm engagement as much as possible on Destiny 2 subjects. And so that's why I just don't believe them typically without doing additional research, which is what I did here. Unfortunately, we've seen with other videos that Aztec and other Destiny 2 creators have made, they just ran with what they saw and they didn't verify, and now more information has come out. So first off, the total number of pre-orders doesn't make a lot of sense, but also shouldn't be terribly concerning quite yet. I do feel like Destiny and Bungie are in a tough spot right now, and it's not surprising that the Final Shape would be wait and see for a lot of players. They have to win back some trust after all the issues. So having low pre-orders would actually make sense. Having some of these pre-orders be returned also makes sense. But the numbers don't add up, and also it's too early to be concerned completely. One, we are over 3 months out from the Final Shape still. So we still have a long time. We haven't seen them really start to marketing the systems and new things that we're going to see within that next expansion. And we all know that Bungie, if anything, does a fantastic job of marketing their new content. So it'll get people hyped, and those pre-order numbers will go up. So comparing other expansions that already released and their pre-order emblem numbers versus a DLC that has not even arrived yet and is still 3 months out is crazy. If you go in the tracker for the emblems, either on Emblem Tracker or Charlemagne, you can see the Beyond Light emblem numbers, the Final Shape emblem numbers, my apologies, going up consistently. So you're going to see those numbers rise as we head towards the next expansion. You're also going to, again, see all that marketing, see all that new information, and just naturally, FOMO is going to hit, and people are going to pre-order as we get closer, as their friends start talking about the game, as they get the itch to return, as they want to make sure they see out the finale of this 10-year story, and as Bungie starts to tease what's next as well. I think a lot more people will jump in at that point. Will it be as many as have previously jumped in on past expansions? That I don't know. But let's get into the data that the DestinyBulletin account showed. So first off, they said that Beyond Light was the highest pre-ordered expansion so far at over 3 million, which does not make sense when you consider Witch Queen had over 1 million pre-orders and was on track to be the most pre-ordered expansion of all time, according to Bungie. They literally tweeted that out 3 weeks before Witch Queen dropped, which would mean that obviously Witch Queen would have outsold Beyond Light, which came before it. So that's just one really concerning, confusing aspect of this. Why would Bungie say that they got that many pre-orders that early and Witch Queen was in line to be the most pre-ordered? So either Witch Queen got a ton less pre-orders in those final couple weeks and it just didn't hit those numbers that they expected, but saying that they were going to add an additional 2 million pre-orders to that just does not add up. And you can see the tweets from Bungie. They're on Twitter right now. I'll link them in the description down below as well. But it just doesn't add up. There's just nothing there that makes sense. So they also look at Charlemagne, which Beyond Light doubled in a month. Witch Queen nearly tripled in a month, and Lightfall doubled. Those are the number of emblems that people obtained. So in the final month before the expansion dropped, the amount of pre-orders went up exponentially. So it's unsurprising that as we get closer to the expansion, more people pre-order. That just makes the most sense as you get close to something. Why would someone pre-order early on, aside from the fact that you do get pre-order weapons, like with Witch Queen and like with the final shape, but even those are not worth pre-ordering long in advance if you're unsure about whether you're going to want to play the DLC. So it just, I don't know, it's just very confusing. So, and then some numbers that I saw are that Witch Queen had 1,498,000 pre-order emblems redeemed, while Beyond Light had 1,248,000 emblems redeemed as well. And then, yeah, so that's less than Witch Queen. And if so, it doesn't mean that Beyond Light currently is at 25%. It's closer to maybe 45%, which would make sense when you consider they're probably going to do the most pre-orders in the final month before launch. So it just, none of their information adds up. I think the information we have specifically from Bungie shows that what DestinyBulletin used was just completely incorrect. There's no way that you can tell me that Beyond Light doubled the number of pre-orders as Witch Queen, and it just doesn't add up. There's no way that makes sense to me, and it's just another case of an account farming engagement with information that just isn't entirely correct, and that's incredibly frustrating because of how quickly it spreads within the community, how many people jump on it and just don't double check. So DestinyBulletin did respond to some of these fact checks, and they said Emblem Report only tracks active players. Charlemagne tracks all Destiny profiles. So the numbers cited are directly provided by the team at Charlemagne who did a Guardian scan, but it just, again, there's something missing there. Either this is the most likely scenario. You could get the deluxe edition of Beyond Light after the final shape did drop and redeem for the emblem, because I believe that was included in the emblems, and so you could obtain that afterwards, and that's why there was such a spike. But even so, the number redeemed between the different sites just doesn't match up, and that's why I don't think this is accurate. There's no way, based on community sentiment and having played since D1 Destiny 1, day one of Destiny 1, I don't consider Beyond Light to be a expansion that a lot of people were especially hyped for in comparison to some other options that we've had. Witch Queen was far more hyped. Lightfall, even though it fell short, pre-orders was far more hyped than Beyond Light. It just doesn't add up, and I do hope that the final shape does well. I hope it's an absolute banger. I just wish people would stop taking all this time to spread fake information that doesn't have any kind of verified facts behind it. Whether what we're doing here is just speculation. Everyone is speculating. Nobody has the exact numbers, and so people are just throwing things out there, trying to get it to stick in the hopes of getting engagement and getting the community talking. And that's really frustrating for me. And I wish people would come with facts and not stuff that they just kind of pull out of a hat. So anyway, I know I went on a bit of a rant, a little ramble there. My name is JoPa. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Helps me out tremendously. Shows you want to see more Destiny 2 content in the future. I am incredibly frustrated with some of the stuff that's going around the community. Hopefully that gets fixed. Have a good one, and I'll catch you all later.